From weekend getaways to extended road trips, California is full of places to explore. And for over 100 years, the Auto Club has been there to help. Our travel agents offer you expertise regarding destination information, trip planning and reservations, either in office, on the phone, or online. Across the state, throughout the country, or around the world. Through all life's travels, we're always with you.
Road Trip has been made possible by the Automobile Club of Southern California.
It's some of the prettiest countryside in California. Lots of trees, open spaces, it's all here. And as we were traveling down the road, we were taking it all in, enjoying the scenery. Now, we were in the Mother Lode, which was and is gold country. But as we'd soon discover, the Mother Lode is also rich in history and home to lots of very nice, friendly people. In fact, this would end up being one of the most educational and fun experiences I've ever had anywhere in California. We'd come to the Mother Lode on a road trip. Okay, here we go. We're starting our road trip to the Mother Lode. It doesn't get any more historic than this, right on the side of Highway 49. We're in Tuolumne County. It's a beautiful day. The sky is blue, the air is clear, and we're starting our history lesson because, Bob, you're a resident here, and everybody in California knows that this is one of the richest areas ever for gold in California, but I think you've got another treasure up here too, and we're standing by a marker that kind of gives a hint as to what that treasure is.
Right, that's the Mark Twain monument.
Mark Twain.
Right.
He spent a lot of time.
Oh, at least 3 months.
90 days.
Right.
And there's debate about that, isn't
there? Yeah, there's a lot of debate as to whether it was 90 days, 88 days. These are serious questions, and the historians debate.
But there's no debate that Mark Twain spent approximately 90 days here in Tuolumne County in California. Why was he here?
Oh, what a question. Almost nobody knows this. But you see, he was in Virginia City. He was a reporter up there on the Territorial Enterprise. And he had to leave town in a hurry early in the morning, or he would have been in a duel. So he and this friend of his that worked on the Territorial Enterprise named Steve Gillis escaped, and they went to San Francisco and went to work in a newspaper down there. Mark Twain was a rascal, and within several months he was unemployed, broke, and in trouble, and he had to escape from San Francisco.
You're saying he came to Tuolumne County, this was his last best hope to escape here?
If he didn't get out of San Francisco, he would have been put in jail.
Wow, he was a rascal, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, a mischief maker.
All right, so he made it to Tuolumne County, and here is historical landmark number 138 that says this was the site of the Mark Twain cabin.
Does it say that?
Well, replica with original chimney and fireplace here on Jackass Hill. This is Jackass Hill, right?
Yes.
Is there a story about that?
Oh, there is.
Well, there's a story about everything in Tuolumne County.
It just goes on and on. But I should mention that's wrong. This is not the site of the cabin. And I don't know who put that up, the state of California.
Yeah.
I don't know who does all their work in Sacramento, but I see inaccuracies all the time.
Okay, we have left historic Highway 49. We are now right off the highway. We're taking a little road up. Well, actually, this is called Jackass Hill Road. We are heading to the end of Jackass Hill Road in search of a replica of the cabin Mark Twain stayed in the 90 days he was here in California in Tuolumne County. The adventure continues up Jackass Hill Road. Okay, the dogs are here, we're here. Hadn't seen any jackasses yet. You said there were going to be some up here.
There's a very friendly one right over there.
Yeah. The jackasses up here?
Her name is Mollie.
Oh, okay, we're going to look for Mollie. Your name, sir, is?
I'm Steve Tinas.
Okay, now you are the great-grandson of Steve Gillis.
That's correct.
Who was Mark Twain's buddy.
Correct.
They came from Carson City to San Francisco to Tuolumne County.
Right.
And you still live on the land where that cabin that your great-grandfather and Mark Twain lived in, it was right here.
In this area, that's right. There's some dispute, but I think it might be here.
Yeah, and when you say here, you mean right here.
That's right.
Now, I don't see any cabin here.
No, that's not. You won't see it because it burned down.
Well, how do you know it was here?
Well, I'm collecting
Look
square
at this.
nails.
We got square nails.
And this is a powder horn.
Let me put that in my hand. Let's take a look at it. You found that here.
Right here. I found it right there. Dug it right in the ground with a metal detector.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are pieces of history
That's
right
right.
here.
And this is, I think it says, Colt Patton. And Steve had a Navy Colt. I got a picture of him with his Navy Colt.
See, this really is history right here.
Oh, history's everywhere.
Okay, we haven't walked very far. We've run into a local. Your name, sir, is?
John Garcia.
You live here on Jackass Hill.
Yes, I do, just up the road.
In direct relationship with this famous cabin.
That's correct.
Is it a famous cabin?
Absolutely.
Do you feel like you're in a historic place living here on Jackass Hill?
It's very magical.
Only someone who lives here could say that Jackass Hill is very magical, but it is, isn't it?
It truly is.
Now, this is a little cabin. Is this about I've seen pictures of it. It was a lot bigger than this.
Yes, it could have been. My aunt wrote that it had 4 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, I beg your pardon. And so this only has 1 room.
Well, what's the idea? Just the concept of building a replica here was what was important?
Sure. Mark Twain was such a famous person. He's so revered throughout the world. It's impressive for Tuolumne County to make some notice of him.
Well, this is exciting. I'm not sure what I expected, but you have a lot of visitors, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Like these ladies just pulled down the road and found the place.
Yes.
We found Mollie the Jackass. Technically, the reason why this is called Jackass Hill is because the miners used a lot of jackasses to move their gold and supplies around up here.
That's right. Before Mark Twain was here, about 10 years earlier, this place was covered in people.
And jackasses. Boy, this is historic right here. Mollie, look at this. Boy, she's a beautiful specimen standing right here. She's been here. Everything here in Tuolumne County is historic, including Mollie. Well, you never know where you're going to end up on a road trip. Right now, we're on the side of Parrots Ferry Road in the little community of Colombia. Now, Colombia has the distinction of being the richest gold mining community in the Mother Lode in its day. More gold came from Colombia than anywhere else in California. This was the heart and soul of the Mother Lode. And look over here. Now this is exciting. Right here in the heart of the Mother Lode is Howser Lane, H-O-W-S-E-R, which is exactly the way we spell our name, Howser, which means possibly one of my relatives was a prospector here in Colombia back during the gold rush. There might be money, there might be gold in the Howser family after all. We're going to have to do a little investigation to see why this sign, Howser Lane, is here. But it is here, right in the heart of the Mother Lode. Are the Howsers rich after all? Where's the gold? Uh-oh, they're coming over here to... Howdy, fellas.
Hi, Huell. How you doing?
What's up?
Well, we're going to the frog jumps in Murphy's today.
You're kidding.
No, big motorcycle ride in Murphy's today.
Well, we're just up here hanging around the mother lode looking for gold. You found any gold yet?
No.
Just frogs.
Yeah, just
jumping.
going to the frog jumps.
Are you from up in this part of California?
Well, Turlock.
Yeah, well, that's down in the Central Valley.
Yeah.
What do you think about this place up here?
Oh, it's just beautiful place to go riding in the mountains.
Yeah, it's absolutely
It's
beautiful.
the best day in the hills to ride in California is on the frog jump weekend.
Great. All right,
Yeah.
we hit the right weekend. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Head on off. This is a pretty area down here to
It
watch
is.
you driving off into the distance.
Maloney's. All right, you guys take care.
Head on out. This is our scenic view right here. Look at this. Now, the reason we have stopped here, we're still on Parrots Ferry Road, and we have stopped here because we've been in Tuolumne County all morning. Doug, you're our guide. You're kind of helping us get around this part of the Mother Lode, and we pulled over here because, look at this. This is this beautiful, you said Calaveras County likes to identify itself with these old ore carts.
They do. Every time you come into the county, some part of the county, you'll see one of their big ore carts with "Welcome to Calaveras County."
Okay, so we are leaving Tuolumne County and heading into Calaveras County for the rest of this road trip.
Absolutely.
But both of these counties are known as the Mother Lode.
And that's the reason why, right there, the gold in the Mother Lode. And there's actually gold you can see there sparkling in this ore that was alongside the road.
So, look, we just stopped and you picked this rock out of all this pile of rocks right here to prove to us that there's still gold in these hills.
There's gold in these hills. It takes some work to get it out, but there's gold in these hills.
You know, when you come to Mother Lode country, up here in gold country, there are lots of things to see and do. There are lots of touristy things to do. We've come to one of them right now, and boy, we're hitting the jackpot here because this place, believe you me, you can't tell from the outside what's inside, but this place is full of geologic, natural, and human history. Right inside and right below this building. Okay, as we continue our road trip here in the Mother Lode, so far we have learned that in this part of California, Mark Twain was big, gold was and is big. Now we're finding out that caves, there are a lot of caves up here.
Very famous cave area. There's actually thousands of caves in California.
This is cave country.
Right, it is.
But these caves are directly connected to the gold.
They're all linked together. And when the first miners got here, they thought that the caves were abandoned Spanish gold mines that they had somehow missed. And of course, when they went down and discovered they're really caverns, they still looked for gold. Not much.
They didn't find much gold.
Not much, just little traces. Because
and didn't I hear that the miners used a lot of dynamite to blow open the openings of the caves to get down in there?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, they used black powder more than dynamite at those days, yeah. But and they still dynamite is still used when we're exploring caves occasionally. So, it makes it kind of tricky.
So where are we now? First, introduce yourself to everybody.
I'm Steve Fairchild. I'm president of Sierra Nevada Recreation Mines and Cave Tours, essentially, for the whole Mother Lode, basically.
And we are standing
right directly over Moaning Cavern.
And boy, when you say Moaning Cavern and right over it, look over here. We are literally standing right over it.
The ceiling is about 40 feet thick, and then the rest of the cavern goes down 410 feet.
And what are all these people doing here?
Well, what we did is, caverns are an adventuresome thing, and what we did is we decided to make it a real adventure. We rigged these ropes. They're 200 foot long.
So people are going down. Is this the way that you used to get in the cave?
Basically, that's right. Well, they used to have a winch over here, which they would lower them during the mining period. It was kind of a novelty. Most people aren't aware that the gold rush was also kind of a tourist attraction. People came from all over the world to watch miners. and some of them they were entertained by lowering them down into the mine here.
Now,
The cave.
can we get down into the cave
we can-
without going this way?
Absolutely, most people do. They go down the big
No
stair.
offense. I'm glad that you all are going down that way. We're going to go down the more traditional way, right?
But we figure there's people like adventure. We've got the roast, but most people want to go down the staircase, and that's enough adventure for most of them.
That's right. And here we go. We got the little mining,
That was how
you know, this is the way they did it.
the handle here that they would crank it with, see? And this would just reel them up and down by
So
cable.
this is the way they would actually get in and out of the mine.
That's right. They would rig it on, and then they would be lowered in, and they'd get down. And from the description I had, they would lower them just long enough to where they started to scream, and then they'd bring them back up. So
Well, we were getting ready to go down, but we can't go down till you come up. What's it like down there?
Oh, incredible. It's always inspiring.
Really? What do you mean
Absolutely.
inspiring? There's a monster down there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and here, look at this. Look where we're looking down here. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go down.
Wow, this is fun. He found gold. There's gold down there. Howdy, Mom. What's it like? What's it like down there?
It's cool. You could make it all the way down, but it's amazing, the structures.
You're out of breath.
Yes, that shows something.
All right, this is where we're going, right down here. We're going down into the cave. Okay, here we go. Boy, this is, look at these steps. Boy, you don't want to miss a step here.
no way.
Now, what's the deal here? Why? What is this all about?
Well, this was an entrance that was opened later. The miners opened this up to, well, when they developed the tour, actually. The original entrance was just that big hole that you saw a few minutes ago.
Boy, this is tight.
You see, this is drilling here. This has all been blasted out to into this natural passage here.
Oh,
But
my
it gives you access. You don't have to go down the rope or cable.
This is an adventure just getting down here.
If you got a little claustrophobia, you'll find out here. But it does open up just as we go around the corner, and then it gets large enough to put the Statue of Liberty inside, standing up.
But this is part of the adventure, is just getting down here.
That's exactly right. And we deliberately try not to make it too easy. We want people to actually feel, that sense of exploration that the early miners and explorers had.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Look at this, look where we are.
What we're standing in was at one time, millions of years ago, a geyser. Hot, steamy water shooting up through this passage is what made it. So you can visualize Yellowstone National Park. Well, this would be like that Yellowstone National Park a million years later.
Look at this. We're not even halfway down.
Oh, not even close.
10 million years old.
6 million years older than the Grand Canyon.
6 million years older than the Grand Canyon. Wait a minute, there's somebody, here's our repeller here.
That's right. Made it so far.
How far has he been down?
Well, he's about 50 feet from the surface now. And you notice that we actually walked down quicker than he came down because people are pretty cautious when they're hanging out there. From where he's at, he can still see a...
Look at this. Look how far down this goes. It just keeps going. Whoa. How you doing up there?
I'm doing all right. It's a lot of work. But
Are you nervous? Yeah, he's nervous. We've made a big deal out of coming down the steps so far. But this is the real fun thing,
yes.
isn't it?
You've still got 144 to go.
And these steps look old
They were
to
built
me.
in 1922.
Wait a minute, that's the same metal that was put in here in 1922?
Actually came from a decommissioned World War I battleship.
But wait a minute, how do we know that's safe?
Oh, it's inspected on a regular basis. We've done repairs to it off and on.
When was the last time it was inspected?
Oh, about 2 months ago.
Oh, okay, good. So we're heading down. Boy, things are wet around here, too.
Well, it's always humid in a cavern.
Okay, here we go down the steps. How many steps?
144.
Look at this. You know, this is a beautiful piece of art here.
It's the first totally arc-welded structure in the United States.
Wait a minute, say that again.
It's the first totally arc-welded structure in the United States.
And it came from an old ship?
Well, the parts and pieces did, yeah. This is deck plating, this was the steam pipes. So this is all cut right out of the deck of a World War I battleship.
This is so beautiful. Look at what you're going through here. These beautiful formations.
And you can see the water is dripping down them now, and even when it's raining heavily, it'll actually spin and twist, which is what makes the shapes at the bottom there. But again, hundreds of thousands of years of deposits of little tiny calcite crystals accumulate to this.
This is one of the most beautiful journeys.
When people drive into the parking lot, they have no idea what's underneath their feet. This open space like this. And I think some of them might get nervous. But you think when you're walking around on the surface, there's a lot of space under you, and it can always sometimes be caves or just geologic features.
This gets even more beautiful down here. And to realize that it's been down here all these years. Wow. Look at this. You have to be here. I don't think the camera adequately picks it up, but everything is the scale in here is so large. It's so big.
In fact, the Statue of Liberty could fit inside of it.
Look at this one. It's just beautiful.
They grow the thickness of a dime every 150 years is all.
We're looking at lots of time here. We are at the bottom of Moaning Cavern. Well, I guess we're at the bottom of Moaning Cavern. I don't know how you ever know whether you're at the top.
We're not quite halfway down to the bottom.
It goes down below this.
There. Yes, this is as far as most people can go down and back up.
And here comes our repeller. Boy, is that a sweat or is that just water?
It's both.
It's both. Give us a wave cautiously. Was it worth it?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, people love that, don't
Yes,
they?
they do. Come back and do it over and over again.
Boy, and when you're down here, you really see the beauty of these stalactites, these stalagmites, all the things that are down here. And you said this room was so big that you could
You can stand the Statue of Liberty inside of this room, arm, torch, and all.
It's that
big.
Deep.
Yes.
Had you ever been in a cave before?
Never. It's the first time.
Well, how would you describe it to people who've never been in a cave?
It's amazing out here. I mean, look at the guy coming down from up there. It's beautiful.
Now, see, you came down the steps.
I know. It's better down the steps than down where he's coming from.
But see, he's having the real cave experience.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
You and I cheated.
Yeah, well, we'll cheat again.
Going back up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not hearing any moans.
Well, of course, it's fairly noisy with people in here, but if you come over this way, you see these holes. Those are shaped like wine bottles, and they're about this deep. And when the water dripping from there hits dead center, it makes a booming sound.
That's how it got its name?
Exactly. And you see the angel's wing up there. It's such a fine crystal structure. When the boom occurs, that vibrates. And then you can hear that through. But you have to be very quiet to hear it, unfortunately.
Wow.
But you can hear this boom. It's pretty interesting.
It goes how?
It sounds more like a boom.
That's a moan.
Yeah. And it does, and when it's raining outside and it's very wet, it'd be every 2 or 3 seconds. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay, here we go. We are now in the nice, quiet little mother lode town of Murphy's, one of those quiet little gold country towns. You can hear the birds singing in the trees. People walking up and down the street, kind of taking it easy. I think here are the ladies I'm supposed to meet up with today, right?
Right.
What is your name?
Linda Silva. Welcome to Murphy's.
Are you the historian?
No, but I love history, and we belong to the Historical Society.
I'm looking for the lady. Are you the lady from the Historical Society?
Oh, I could be. I could be.
Are you from the Historical Society?
Yeah, I sure am.
Which Historical Society are you?
Calaveras County.
Are you really?
I'm a resident here. Yes,
good.
sir.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah,
Tell
look,
us.
I come from Canada too.
Oh, tell us a little bit. Come on out here with me. Come here. Come on out here. Tell us a little bit about Murphy's.
Murphy's? That's
Yeah.
a wonderful old town.
Great old town. Well, how old is it?
Well, about 1850 or so.
Uh-huh.
And gold miners.
What is all this going on here today?
Today, that's just fun.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not usually like this. Are we
Oh,
having
no,
a
no.
picture,
This is only 1 weekend a year, you know.
What is all this about? What are all these?
Let me get my wife out here.
What are all
She
these
likes the camera.
motorcycles here for?
The frog jumps, of course.
So they've all come into town for the frog
Yes,
jump.
sir. Yes,
Yeah, the
sir.
street police
I'm
for
sorry,
safety.
I'm sorry, officer. What is going on here?
The Murphy's bike event.
So you know this is going to happen every year.
Correct.
Where do all these people come from?
Everywhere. I gotta get back to my post. It was good talking to you,
All
man.
right, nice talking
Take care.
with you. Friendly law enforcement here. There's all kind of stuff. Are you bringing me an ice cream cone? Look at this. Wow.
I'm Rita from the Peppermint Stick right over there.
Nice to meet you. Now I'm
nice to meet you also.
Now all I'm doing is waiting on somebody to bring me a beer.
I'll buy you a beer.
You get me a beer?
I'll buy you a beer.
I mean,
You might get arrested though drinking on the street.
Oh, that's
That is the
Drinking on the job, yeah, you can't drink on the job.
Look at this. We got limos in town. And look over here, look at these motorcycles coming in. Look at this. This is crazy. This is unbelievable. This is surreal to think that this little town once was, well, you know what? Back in the gold rush days, it was probably rowdy, just like this. So history continues here in California. Look at this. Whoa! Now things are settling down just a little bit. We're beginning to find out what's going on here today. We didn't know what we were getting into.
Well, welcome to Murphy's.
Yeah, I know. On the jumping frog jump weekend.
Yes.
That's why all the bikers are here.
That's right.
But there's always, where do you all live?
We live in Sonora.
Look, I got ice cream on my microphone there.
Give it to the dog. Here, we can clean
the
it
dog
off
will
for
lick it
you.
off. That's right. You all live just down the road in
Sonora.
Sonora, which is what? How many miles?
Maybe 10.
There's so much going on around here. There's something going on all the time.
Yes, there is.
You're in the wine country here. This is the wine country of the Mother Lode.
But I thought this was gold country too.
It was at one time, but
So
now it's wine.
It's wine. We just came out of a cave.
We switched it from that mineral to the liquid gold now.
You're right. And then we just came out of Moaning Cavern. Have you ever been down there?
Yes, I have. Benefits of growing up over here.
You know what? There's so much going on around here.
Yes, there is.
So this is a good place for tourists to come and kind of hang out, kind of look at these old buildings. It's just, there's a lot of character to these old towns, isn't there?
There's a lot of character. We preserve a lot of the historical places in not only Murphy's, but over in Sonora, Colombia, Jamestown.
They're all connected. They're all just
connected.
a few miles apart.
Yes.
Now we've hit the historical jackpot because we have found the guy. Your name, sir, is?
Dorian Fott.
In all of this craziness out here on the main street, this is the main street of town, right?
That's correct.
What's the name of this street?
It is Main Street.
Main Street,
Main
all
Street,
right.
Murphy's, California.
We're standing in front of the Murphy's Hotel, and I have a feeling that's the oldest or certainly the most historic building in town, and you own it.
I think there's another building that's a little bit older, but that has been the hotel in continuous use since 1856.
So does that set a record of some sort in continuous use since 1856? Is that the oldest hotel in California?
The California State Senate set us, when we turned our 150th our sesquicentennial, they sent us a certificate saying we were the oldest continuously operated hotel.
So this is still a hotel?
It is, yes.
Look at it. It looks like it's made of adobe or some kind of stone or something. Honey, how you doing?
What it was stacked limestone rock. And then they put some gunite on there back in the 1940s.
But you haven't really modernized it that much.
No, I got some pictures inside I'd love to show you that show the hotel from 1870 as it's progressed till now.
I was going to go in and hang out at your historic bar, but it's packed. They're spilling out on the street.
It's like that every Tuesday.
And it just keeps getting better because Dorian is now bringing us inside the historic Murphy's Hotel. And you know what? It doesn't get any... You can feel the history in here.
Does it feel like the floor's a little loose?
Yeah. Look at this. You got the old stove. You got the old front desk where the old wallpaper.
The old front desk clerk.
Front desk clerk, honey. And then down here, it says dining room, but I hear noise coming from over here on our left.
That could be our old-time saloon.
So we are now getting ready to leave the lobby and go into an authentic, old-time, historic Murphy's Hotel saloon. Hold on. Okay, we're here. Let's work our way through the bar. Howdy, fellas.
Hey, how we doing here?
Friendly people up here in Murphy's. Come on, thank you for watching. All right, now what have we got in here, Dorian? This is an old-fashioned bar right here.
Yeah, the mirrors and stuff are not original. We got some pictures of the bar, this bar and that back bar, all the way back to 1856. This clock right here was a Wells Fargo requirement.
We got a clock that goes back to how old is that?
1870 is the date when somebody repaired it, so it's probably older than that.
This doesn't look any different than it would have looked 100, 150 years ago.
Not very much, no.
And everybody in here's having a good time.
That's a requirement to come to the Murphy's Hotel.
Yeah, whether it's Jumping Frog weekend or not.
That's
it's always fun
always
here.
Fun here.
Okay, we've decided to quieten things down a little bit. Dorian has brought me up to the second floor of the hotel. Every one of these doors has a name on it. Ulysses Grant, William Howard Taft, Horatio Alger, they all stayed here?
J.P. Morgan, when he was the richest man in the world.
You're kidding.
Here. No, I'm not kidding.
And who
right
else?
Back there was Black Bart. You know, he stayed here a couple of times right around the time some stages were getting robbed also.
Did you say that William Randolph Hearst stayed here?
Yes, he did. And, you know, his father, George Hearst, had the Sheep Ranch mine. It was probably his most successful mine of all of them.
And you told me Susan B. Anthony stayed here.
Yeah, you know, she didn't get much coverage, you know, all of these guys in here, but we had Susan B.
The question is, who hasn't stayed in the hotel? Because, look, we are standing in front of the Mark Twain room, but there's
That's
a problem here, Dorian. We've been doing some research on Mark Twain's 90 Days up here in the Mother Lode. That was in 1964-65. That says 1877.
Well, we have a register that is at the county recorder's office, and in there it says Samuel Clements, who stayed here in 1865. But, you know, in 1877, somebody signed in as Mark Twain. So instead of thinking, you know, Samuel Clements, they thought Mark Twain, and so they put down the date of somebody who stayed.
How do you know somebody just didn't say they were Ulysses S. Grant or Susan B.? How do you know the real people stayed here?
Well, Ulysses S. Grant lived in Benicia for a while, and he loved the Calaveras big trees. He stayed here several times, and we have his signature. You know, it's downstairs.
So we know all of those people stayed in the Murphy's Hotel.
That's correct.
From the Mark Twain room to the Mark Twain ballroom, Dorian, oh boy, this is beautiful. There's Mark Twain's portrait up on the wall. This is very historic. What would have happened in this room.
Well, it's kind of interesting that this room was built as part of the hotel back in 1856 because they knew how to party back then, too.
Oh, I know they knew how to party.
This is where they would have their presidential receptions. They would have their New Year's Eve parties, their feast for Thanksgivings. And when it wasn't being used for those kinds of parties, they made this into a bunkhouse. There was a set of stairs on the back here, and the drovers that took the cattle and the sheep up into the high country
would have stayed here.
Would have stayed here, and the bunks were like 4 or 5 high.
Boy.
Actually, the ceiling has been lowered by 2 feet, so the ceiling was another 2 feet higher.
If these walls could talk.
I bet they had some good times.
Because you've got good stories, but you know, for every story you've got, there are probably 500 stories that have been lost in the cracks of time.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Eleanor, our ghost, have we?
You got a ghost here?
Every hotel comes with a ghost.
Let's end up down here with this wonderful picture of Mark Twain, who was so much a part of the history of this part of California, even though, as we all know, he was only here for about 90 days here in this part of California. We're opening up the gate. We've come outside the hotel. I've never seen a gate like this before, but this is historic as well.
Yeah, I think it's back to the 1950s. I think Mac McKimmons put this in about 1950.
Wait a minute, the 1950s isn't historic.
It was one of our Renaissance.
Oh, okay, come on. And look at this. You got a whole little garden party going on out here. This is part of the celebration.
Yes, it is.
Look at this. Gosh, oh my gosh. How you doing, fellas?
There he is.
Nice to see you, sir.
Gold. All right.
Nice to see you. Come on. Where are you taking us, Dorian?
Right here.
Look at this.
Good job right there.
Look at this. Now, what's all this? What's the history behind this?
Well, this used to be a motor lodge right here, and this was a parking lot, but we changed it into a lawn area and place to have people together.
So there are some changes being made
all the time,
in Murphy's over the years.
We're doing a little handicap thing here.
Wow, this is great. It smells good out here.
Well, we got a barbecue going.
Got a barbecue going over here. Ah, how you doing?
Love you.
More friendly people. I'm telling you what, this is the friendliest part of California I think I've ever been in. This is fun. This is gold country fun. Well, you know, it's amazing what difference a little bit of distance makes in the energy level going on around you. We're about, well, we're less than a mile from downtown Murphy's right now, and you'd never know that all that was going on over there. It's so peaceful and quiet and serene. The birds are singing, the sky is blue. All's right with the world, right?
That is absolutely right.
We've come to the place to decompress a little bit from what's going on in downtown Murphy's. Introduce yourself to everybody.
I'm John Couts, and chairman of Ironstone Vineyards.
Ironstone Vineyards.
And I'm Gail Couts. It's nice to meet you, Huell.
We have heard so much about Ironstone Family Vineyards.
That's
because
correct.
This is a family vineyard.
Definitely, and this is where a lot of the vineyards started in the 1800s. And this is gold country, and on this ranch is lots of history of gold and gold mining and camps and the whole thing.
All right, that's our cue, because the wine's good, but we're in the mother lode country right now, because when you come up here, you talk about more than just wine. We're looking for the gold, and I think we've come to the right place to find it. We're inside well, this is like a museum in here.
Well, this is a
It
museum.
is a
Hill.
museum. It's the Ironstone Museum.
Yes.
And you all have collected
Yes.
all of this stuff over the years.
We personally have collected every item in this entire complex ourselves.
Everything in this museum, you're spending a lot of time looking for historic stuff.
We are, and
and you find a lot of it,
and
too.
we keep finding it and finding it.
Look over here. We got the Native American tribute here because, of course, they were here before anybody. Then we've got right over here, this is what era over here?
That's the mining era.
Okay, so we got the mining era, we got old safes here, we got gold discovery, we got a lot of stuff over here, we got a silver saddle, we got a little safe, and then we've got a big safe. And I'm following you all in because I've been hearing about this for years, and to see it in person for the first time, look at that inside the safe for safekeeping. And boy, there's a reason why you got it in here. Tell us a little bit about this piece of gold that we are, now, is this called a nugget?
No, this is actually a crystalline gold piece, leaf gold. It's one piece of gold, but it's all pressed leaves. That's what makes it so rare.
When did they find this? Back during the gold rush?
This was found in the Sonora mining exactly 9 air miles from where it is here in December 25th, 1992.
1992.
That's
so
correct.
There's still, this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's still gold in these hills.
That's for sure, and they don't believe there's more than 10% of the gold has been extracted in these hills.
Now, how many pounds is this?
This is 44 pounds.
And when you look at it, what's amazing about this is that this is just part of what they discovered in 1992.
Absolutely. There's a whole collection of smaller pieces. This actually went through one of the crushers, the main crusher, and it went on the belt going to the second crusher, and they have these big magnets that stop it because these ore carts and things will get on the rail. And so it shut the whole belt down.
I guess it would. Good.
It shut it down, and these guys went out and just shoved everything off because it was Christmas Day. And then they go back after and
realize what
they had.
Right. What are people's reaction to this thing when they see it for the first time?
It's a total wide range of reactions. I think most people are overwhelmed at it. They've never seen 44 pounds of gold, which I had never seen either before. And, you know, it is awesome. It's a beautiful piece of gold, and it is a piece of art.
When you talk about California gold country, this is really what you're talking about. And when you talk about the mother lode, right here in Calaveras County.
Absolutely. And a lot of the very finest gold pockets were here in Calaveras County and Tuolumne County and this mother lode.
Well, you know what? They were here and they are still here. If they're finding this in 1992, there's still more like it. That's what keeps people digging, isn't it?
Absolutely it is. Yes, and we know that, in fact, they know that there is a lot more gold in these hills. It just has to be claimed.
Well, we have left the gold and we've come to another room filled with gold. Where are we now, John? This is a beautiful big room with obviously some history going on over here.
Absolutely. We love history, and this whole facility is a living museum. This is the theater pipe organ for the Alhambra Theater in Sacramento, California, and it was 1927.
How did you get it here?
Well, we were, long story, but we got it here and totally restored it. Now, the chandelier here came out of the Grand Ballroom of the Mapes Hotel in Reno. First casino hotel in the whole world, I think, or around here.
Now it's here.
And now it's here.
All right, let's walk down here to the organ because Your organist here, he's part of history too.
He is history.
Tell me a little bit about him.
Well, Bob Hartzell has been a long time friend for years and years, and he also has a theater pipe organ in his winery, and he came up to play this beautiful instrument.
Boy, when you play that thing, the floor shakes.
Yeah, that's because it's got a big blower on it.
Wow. How does it feel being in a place like this, playing an instrument like this?
It's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not only is the music great, but the fact that you're playing it on an organ that's been saved and found a new life.
Absolutely. This came out of the Alhambra Theater in Sacramento.
Absolutely.
And I rescued it from the Baptist Church in Stockton.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I brought it over here by mule train, right?
Brought it by mule and sold it to John and made a fortune on it. They're walking their dogs by the old jail. Good morning.
Old jail.
The old jail. The Murphys, it says it over the door, the Murphys Pokey. Was this really the jail?
This was the jail. It was built in 1911. And I understand that it was mostly for drunks, probably from the Murphys Hotel.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine how cold that was in winter? And
can you imagine
how
hot it
Sutton
was in the summer?
Yeah.
So it's just here as a historical monument now.
Right.
It's not the town Pokey now, is it?
No, it isn't. All the bad guys go to jail in San Andreas.
Let's stand out of the way and get a shot. There it is. It's historic. Right out here behind the hotel. It says it right above the door. Look at that. The Murphys Pokey. That's the real thing. No road trip is complete without a visit to the local museum. And here in Angels Camp, we've come to their beautiful little Angels Camp Museum. Now, we've already found out firsthand that they take their local history seriously here in the Mother Lode. And looking at the front of the museum, you can tell what part of their local history they really care about. There's one up there, and there's one down here. And we're getting ready to go inside the Angels Camp Museum to learn more about Mark Twain and the famous Calaveras County jumping frogs. We're inside the Angels Camp Museum, and here to greet us is Mark Twain himself. Actually, he's not here to greet us. He's kind of quiet these days. Here to greet us in a much more animated form.
Bob Rogers, Museum Administrator.
Nice to meet you.
Judy Laws, a volunteer and member of the committee that helped put together this exhibit.
All right, this exhibit, and this just isn't any old exhibit. This is a great, very special exhibit about Mark Twain.
Yes, it is. We are very fortunate to be able to have collaborated with UC Berkeley at Bancroft Library and UC Merced, one of the internationally known Mark Twain scholars. In fact, his class helped write this exhibit.
So this is a new permanent exhibit about his days here.
Yes.
In the Mother Lode.
Yes, it is, and we have some things that really haven't been out in public that much or even seen before, including his notes from when he was here.
Now wait a minute. Before we talk about his notes, how long was he here? Because we've heard 88 days, 89 days, 90 days.
88 days.
88 days.
That's correct.
And that's what the guy in the museum is saying, so it must be true.
It's true, and that's what Bancroft says.
Okay, now what's in these notes that he kept?
These are his diaries and his writer's notes. He took notes on all the stories he heard and the things he saw, and he was looking for material for the newspapers that he was working for and hoping to do something wonderful in a literary way.
So he was working the whole time he was here.
Well, yes, but he was having a lot of fun too, hanging out with his friends, telling stories, drinking, and generally having a good time.
Now, how did his friends know him? As Mark Twain or as Samuel Clemens?
Well, Samuel Clemens is how they knew him. Mark Twain was his pen name by that point on articles that he was writing for the Territorial Enterprise and also for the Californian in the Call in San Francisco. But they knew him as Mark Twain.
His drinking buddies would have known him, though, as Sam.
They would have known him as Sam, and he got here because his buddy Steve Gillis was arrested in San Francisco. Twain posted bail. Gillis decided to leave, and Twain didn't have the bail, so they both came up to Jackass Hill.
We were up at Jackass Hill earlier today. Now let's walk down here, because this is, boy, it gets exciting down here, because we're beginning to get into the whole idea here of frog jumping.
Well, that's right, and the story that catapulted him to fame was Jim Smiley and his jumping frog. It was actually his third draft at attempting the story. We have all 5 of his drafts here, but this is the one that made him famous.
Was there really a jumping frog in Calaveras County, or did Mark Twain make all this up?
I'm sure the miners would jump frogs. They would bet on anything. And there's a story about a frog that did jump here, and in fact, it was written up in 1853. But he heard this story, and he just embellished it and used it in his own way.
And his jumping frog story that was published, it ended up being published back east in a major, what, magazine or newspaper?
Yes, it was a newspaper.
And that's the story that catapulted him to fame.
To worldwide fame, almost instantly.
His story about the jumping frog.
Yes, it came out, and the next day, everyone loved it. People were kind of depressed after the Civil War, and this was humorous, hilariously funny, and it spread like wildfire. He was the sensation of New York.
Isn't that kind of bizarre, though, that he had tried for so long and so hard to become famous? It was his story about the Calaveras County jumping frog right here in Angels Camp.
That's right.
That made him famous.
It made him famous.
Yes.
We are getting ready to leave the Angels Camp Museum. Thank you very much, and congratulations on this wonderful new exhibit.
Thank you so much.
And it's a permanent exhibit that
Yes,
people
it
can
is.
see for years to come.
That's right.
Before we left, you all wanted to point something out. And boy, this, you know, sometimes we forget what a humorist Mark Twain really was. He had a very dry sense of humor, didn't he?
He certainly did, and we love this quote up here.
Look at this. Denial ain't just a river in Egypt.
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. Denial just ain't another river in Egypt. Now look how she does it. She puts its legs right down on the lily pad. Oh! Whoa! That's a crowd pleaser. Well, you know, it had to happen. This had to be where it all ended up, here at the Calaveras County Fair and Frog Jumping Jubilee. They're jumping the frogs here at the fair. She's dropping it on the, oh! Oh my gosh. See, I told you we had a lot of fun. Going to the frog jump itself, which is a part of California history. And then that unexpected motorcycle party in Murphy's on Frog Jump weekend. All that Mark Twain history, our visit deep down inside Moaning Cavern, hanging out at that beautiful vineyard, and then seeing that huge piece of gold. We learned so much interesting California history and met so many nice people. Are you bringing me an ice cream cone? Look at this. Like I said at the beginning, This was one of the best road trips I've ever been on. And I'd like to thank everybody for making us feel so welcome. If you haven't been there yet, I highly recommend a road trip to the Mother Lode. I guarantee you it'll be a trip to remember. Well, I'm beginning to sound like a travel agent, but you've got to visit the Mother Lode. And if you'd like to go on this Mother Lode road trip again, or share it with family or friends, well, of course, it's available on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.
Road Trip with Huell has been made possible by the Automobile Club of Southern California.
Wherever you're headed on your next road trip, the Auto Club knows the territory. For travel tips or comprehensive destination information, as well as booking your next family vacation, our website is a great first stop on any journey, no matter how far away your destination may be. Through all life's travels, we're always with you.